All right, I'm fired up about this one, so here we go. If you've ever wondered why you should read a book instead of having AI summarize it for you, here's why. I'm going to be pulling from the book Walden, or Life in the Woods by Henry David Thoreau. You've probably heard of this book. It's just Thoreau talking about trying to live simply, and he lives in a small house by the pond, and the image is quite popular. There's a song called Walden Pond by Attaboy that I quite like, or you might know him from this quote, which I'm going to put on the screen but not read now because this quote is not the point of the video. Although it is a very good quote, so pause it and read it. In the first chapter of Walden, he's talking about building his own house. He built his own little shack by the lake, and he's contemplating in this chapter, man, this is kind of nice. Why doesn't everyone build their own house? He says, who knows but if men constructed their dwellings with their own hands and provided food for themselves and families simply and honestly enough, the poetic faculty would be universally developed, as birds universally sing when they are so engaged. Which is kind of a stretch. I don't know if he's factually saying this is what would happen, or he's more just making an observation on how far we've come from nature, so to speak. But then he said something I felt was really profound. He said, shall we forever resign the pleasure of construction to the carpenter? I never in all my walks came across a man engaged in so simple and natural an occupation as building his house. Where is this division of labor to end? And what object does it finally serve? No doubt another may also think for me, but it is not therefore desirable that he should do so to the exclusion of my thinking for myself. He's saying, hey, just because someone can do something instead of you doing it doesn't mean they should. You can outsource everything, but don't you want to do some things? Thoreau's saying, yeah, someone else could build my house, but I'm living in it and I have the time. And this seems pretty normal to do. Now, I'm not going to make the case here that we should build our own houses. That sounds intriguing. Honestly, the log cabin fever hits pretty hard once you finish the book. But I'm going to suggest we should be building our mental houses. Thoreau's living in a house by the pond that he built himself, and he has the pleasure of seeing what he built. We spend our whole day in our own brain, and I think it's pretty normal to want to construct and put into that things that you are proud of and things that you want to see. And you want to do that yourself. I don't want to get caught up in the web of talking about AI. This is not an anti-AI video. This is a pro-reading video. And I think AI is intriguing and has its uses for sure, 100%. But as someone who just now had to work kind of hard to get through Walden, right? It took me a little bit of time. I thought, could I maybe learn the same things quicker with AI? And I tried it out. So here's what I asked ChatGPT just a second ago. I said, can you summarize the main takeaways from the book Walden by Henry David Thoreau? And I'm pretty sure I've said Thoreau's name differently a couple times in this video. Oopsie. And here's what ChatGPT said. I'll put it on the screen. Certainly, Walden by Henry David Thoreau is a reflection on simple living in natural surroundings. Here are some main takeaways. And I'm not going to read the full text, although you can read it, but it says simplicity, self-reliance, nature, individualism, spirituality, and civil disobedience. And then it summarizes each of those points, and you know what? It's pretty accurate. I'm not seeing anything in here that I would say goes against the book at all. So my point here is not, hey, think for yourself because other people or AI are going to get it wrong. That has nothing to do with it. The point isn't the quality of the answer. The point is the quality of the process. If you would argue that just by reading this ChatGPT summary, you could get the same thing out of it as you would by reading, I would say that's not how that works. You can't just read a list of bullet points and then understand the lessons. If that was the way things worked, then when we were like 5 years old, everyone would have lined us up and said, hey, just so you know, we figured out how to live here on Earth. We'd like for you to all be kind, share, work hard, and be creative, and some other things. And then we would all nod and say, yes, of course, yes, ma'am. And then we would just be that forever. That's not how it works. You can't just read a list of bullet points and be transformed. Transformation of your mind and of your life takes time and effort and energy. And to actually have that be a part of your life, a book is the perfect vehicle, right? Someone else can think for me. This computer does know what is in the book. And if my goal in life was to pass a test for an English class on this book, this is an incredible tool. But is that the goal? Is the goal to pass a test? Assuming you're listening to this and you're not in school anymore, where's the test? There's no test, there's just process. The process of reading slowly and kind of working and figuring out, wait, what does this mean? I don't actually get it, or this is kind of boring, or this is a little repetitive, or this is taking longer than I thought. That is like Thoreau building his house. It takes a little bit of time. I'm a teacher. I don't teach English, but I do have students who take English classes, and I overhear them, or they even talk to me directly, and they are just begging and like chewing at the bit to be allowed to use ChatGPT in their essays. Like if they could, they would, no questions. And I try and ask them, the point of an essay, moving into writing for a second, the point of an essay is to express what you are thinking. And if you don't even care enough to express your own thoughts, if you want to outsource your thinking, what are you doing? Like, what? Are you just going to sit somewhere? Is that the end goal, to sit and not think? Is that the goal? And if that's the goal, then I guess let's not read any books. But if it's not, then maybe let's build our own houses by the pond. Let's realize that our minds are something that we inhabit, and it's a pleasure and a joy to put in a little bit of work to enrich that space. All right, let me know down below, what's a book you've really had to work through, and why was it worth it? See you guys next time in Reasons to Read number 5.